Welcome, executives. Today we are presenting something that every UAE GCC bank simply cannot afford to ignore. The Central Bank of UAE Secured Messaging Compliance Mega Toolkit. With the Central Bank of UAE WhatsApp ban enforcement window now fully active, this toolkit represents the fastest, most cost-effective path from exposure to compliance. This is not a generic framework. It was built for UAE GCC banking institution. What you are looking at is a three-in-one consulting grade asset that replaces hundreds of thousands of dirham in advisory fee. By the end of this presentation, you will understand exactly why your institution needs this today, not next quarter today. Let's begin. So before we start, a disclaimer, all facts, numbers, and example in this deck are illustrative only and do not represent real client data. This content is for education and demonstration purpose only. So now the regulatory trigger, Central Bank of UAE WhatsApp ban that you might have heard very recently. The Central Bank of UAE has made its position unambiguous. Consumer messaging applications like WhatsApp are not compliant channel for regulatory banking activity period. The April 2026 deadline is not a suggestion, it is now an enforcement threshold. Banks that are still relying on WhatsApp for client communication are sitting on a ticking compliance liability. Every conversation, every transaction hint, every advisory exchange on an unapproved channel is documented regulatory exposure. So this toolkit translates this regulatory complexity into a structured compliance action plan that your team can execute immediately. The question is no longer should we act, it's how fast can we act. The answer is with this right toolkit, very fast. Let's show you how. The risk landscape for the UAE and the GCC bank. What you are looking at is the risk universe that every UAE GCC bank is navigating right now. And the uncomfortable truth is that most institutions have not fully mapped this risk, which is precisely why they remain exposed. Data leakage and regulatory sanction sits at critical severity. These are not theoretical risks, these are live, documented enforcement scenarios that the Central Bank of UAE has signaled it will pursue. Fraud vectors via unverified messaging channels are isolating the GCC region specifically. So the channel risk accelerator model 2 of the toolkit maps exactly the risk universe for your institution with weighted scoring and a regulatory heat map tailored to Central Bank of UAE requirements. No bank should be making strategic decisions on securing messaging without this level of visibility. The cost of this toolkit is a fraction of a single regulatory fine. Why act now? Three forces are converging simultaneously on every bank in this room: regulatory, operational, and reputation. Any one of them alone would be sufficient reason to act. Together, they create a situation where delay is actively costly. From a regulatory standpoint, the deadline has passed. From an operational standpoint, your migration cannot happen overnight. The 60 to 90 days minimum implementation window means the time to start was yesterday. And from a reputational standpoint, the bank that demonstrate proactive compliance will now own the client trust narrative in this region. The Mega Toolkit provides the framework, templates, and evidence register to respond to all the three pillars simultaneously. It's not just about compliance, it's about competitive positioning. Institution that moves now will be presenting their compliance evidence while their competitors are still in planning mode. Now, let me introduce the Mega Toolkit 3 in 1. This is the centerpiece of everything we are presenting today. The three fully integrated modules, each solving a distinct challenges, all designed to work together as a single compliance and transformation system. The module one gives you the regulatory compliance infrastructure, checklist, scoring engine, evidence register, everything from CISO and the head of compliance needed to demonstrate readiness to Central Bank of UAE. Module 2 delivers the risk intelligence across every communication channel in your institution, a capability that typically requires 4 to 6 weeks consulting engagement to build from scratch. Module 3 is your migration playbook, the strategic architecture, vendor criteria, and 30, 60, 90 days roadmap that transform the compliance inherent into an operational reality. Purchasing this toolkit replaces three separate workstream, one investment, three deliverables, zero waste time. So now about the compliance toolkit. The model one is the regulatory backbone of the toolkit. 50 points compliance checklist was built directly from the Central Bank of UAE circular February 2023 and aligns with the UAE financial sector supervision framework. What makes this different from a generic checklist is the automated scoring engine. It doesn't just tell you what you need. It tells you exactly where your gaps are. Weighted by regulatory severity, your compliance team can produce a board ready readiness score with hundreds of implementation. The evidence register and the reporting tax are equally critical. Regulators don't just want to hear that that you are compliant. They want documented proof. This model gives you the structure to build and maintain that proof continuously. The component alone would cost 80K to 120K AD from a big four consulting advisory firm. It's included in this toolkit. Let's talk about the channel risk accelerator. So most banks have a fragmented view of their messaging channel. They know WhatsApp is a problem, but they don't have a complete picture of every channel, every dimension, risk dimension, and every gap related to Central Bank of UAE expectation. The model to changes that. The channel inventory matrix covers every communication channel in use across the institution from consumer apps to Bloomberg terminals and score each against eight regulatory risk dimension. The output is a compliance heat map that your CISO can present to the board in minutes and use as the basic for immediate remediation planning. The risk register links directly to the compliance toolkit in module 1, creating a fully integrated compliance intelligence system. This module alone replaces a 4 to 6 weeks channel risk assessment delivered as a fully editable Excel toolkit ready to run on day one. So let's talk about the migration blueprint. Model 3 is your strategic explanation execution engine. It takes the compliance engine from model 1 and 2 and converts into a structured 90 days migration program. The 30-day phase is focused on the assessment and the planning, the ensuring you have the full picture becoming before committing to a vendor or architecture. The 60 days phase drives the architecture design and the vendor selection using our pre-built evaluation matrix to accelerate a process that typically takes months. And the 90 days phase delivers a compliant, live secure messaging environment with the full audit trail capability. The cost model included in this model allows your CFO and the CIO to build a creditable business case in hours. The vendor evaluation matrix benchmark leading secure messaging platform, Symphony, Wikia, Microsoft Team compliance feature against Central Bank of UAE requirement. This is a consulting deliverable that would cost 80, 20K plus from a tier one advisor. It's included in this toolkit. Let's talk about the value proposition. So, in terms of the return on investment in a direct team, a big four firm will charge somewhere around 350K to 400K AD to deliver the three work stream covered by this toolkit. A boutique GCC compliance consultant will charge 180K to 250K AD. Our toolkit delivers the same framework for a fraction of that, available for immediate download. The 100 plus consulting hours saved is a conservative estimate. Your compliance team, your risk team, your IT team will each save significant time using the pre-built regulator aligned framework instead of building from scratch. And because this is a fully editable Excel and Word, you own the output completely. You can adapt it to your institution specific structure, existing policies, and the regulatory relationship. This isn't a one size template, it's a professional consulting asset. The question to ask your team today is what is the cost of a central bank of UAE enforcement action versus the cost of this toolkit? Call to action. We have covered the regulatory trigger, the risk landscape, the urgency, and the toolkit in full. Now comes the decision point. Central Bank of UAE secures messaging compliance. Mega Toolkit is available for immediate download on ETSY and Digital IT by Sachin. You can have every model in your team's hands with the minutes of purchase. For the CEOs and the CEOs in this room, this toolkit, there is your introduction in one of the most scrutinized regulatory areas in the UAE bank right now. For CISO and compliance head, this is the structure framework your team needs to demonstrate readiness and produce evidence on demand. For head of IT and the digital, this is your migration playbook, architecture, vendor evaluation, roadmap, all ready to deploy. The cost of inaction is measured in regulatory fines, regulation damage, reputation damage, and the compounding cost of unplanned migration. Cost of the toolkit is a rounding error on any bank's compliance budget. Download today, deploy tomorrow, be compliant by next quarter. Thank you so much.